Who says salad can't be a hearty main course? This classic Cobb salad sure doesn't. Not only is a Cobb salad packed with a ton of protein and exciting flavors and textures, it also comes with a show-stopping presentation that invites you to dive in. With a few key techniques, you'll certainly be won over with a flavorful, far from bland salad that's perfect for entertaining.
By the way, this lesson is from our Hearty Main Course Salads class, out now on ATK classes on the America's Test Kitchen app. In this class, we'll cover everything from handling and selecting salad greens to making your own vinaigrettes and creamy dressings and bringing it all together in a perfectly dressed salad. You'll learn flavorful ways to add protein, as well as how to create satisfying salads without the meat. And we'll explore twists on classic salads like Caesar and salad niçoise. Learn at your own pace and have fun while you do it. But first, let's make a Cobb salad.
The great thing about Cobb salad is that there are so many different components to it, but that can also make it kind of challenging. There's raw components and there's cooked components to the Cobb salad, so we're gonna start with what gets cooked. Starting with our hard-boiled eggs, and I used our steam bath method to hard-boil our eggs, which you can find linked in this course. But you could also use whatever hard-boiling method you prefer. So I'm gonna set these aside and focus on our next component, the chicken. So I have 3 chicken breasts here. They're about 6 ounces each. And the first thing I want to do is season them. So I have some kosher salt and black pepper. Now you could certainly use table salt here, but I just prefer to use kosher. It's easier to see on the chicken, and you're less likely to oversalt your chicken if you're using kosher versus table. And I'm using freshly cracked pepper too, right on top. Rather than get my hands all chickeny, I'm going to just use my tongs to give these a flip and season the other side. I'm also seasoning from high above the plate, which gives us a more even distribution of our salt and more pepper. We're gonna broil our chicken for this salad, and what's great about it is that broiling chicken is just super easy. It's developed some browning on the chicken, but it really is a no-fuss situation. I've got a wire rack sitting in my baking sheet, and I'm just gonna give it a good spray with some cooking spray, just to ensure that the chicken doesn't stick to the rack. And you could also use a broiling pan if you have one, but a rack and a sheet pan works just as well. So onto our rack goes our chicken, lined up like little chicken soldiers. I have my oven rack 6 inches below the broiler element, and we're gonna broil our chicken for 4 to 8 minutes until the tops get lightly browned. And then I'm gonna give them a flip and continue to broil them for another 6 to 8 minutes until the chicken registers 160 degrees. All right, our chicken has, I believe, finished cooking, but just to double check, I'm gonna use my thermometer to check. Again, we're looking for 160 degrees, 161, excellent. And look how pretty the chicken looks. There's some nice golden brown color on top. So quick, so easy. Let's move on to the final cooked element of our salad, which is our bacon. We're using 8 slices or 8 ounces of bacon total for this salad, and I already have 7 slices that I've cut up. Now, you can use your chef's knife to cut these into strips, but I'm gonna use my kitchen shears. I just think this is a great utilization of this tool. And we're looking for about 1/4-inch strips. Now, if you're having a hard time cutting your bacon, even if you are using your kitchen shears or your knife, you can throw it in the freezer for a few minutes to kind of harden it up, which makes cutting through your bacon a lot easier. I have a 10-inch nonstick skillet here, and I'm gonna add our strips of bacon right to the skillet. And we're gonna turn our heat up to medium. Now I do have some bacony hands, so I'm gonna give my hands a quick wash, and then we can start going on our vinaigrette. Now there are a lot of components to a Cobb salad, so you want a dressing that can really stand up to all those different components. So we're talking high acid, lots of flavor, but nothing that's gonna mask the flavors of the components themselves. You could use a bowl and a whisk to assemble your vinaigrette, but I like to use a jam jar. Now this is great if you wanna make the vinaigrette ahead of time, because all you have to do is pour your ingredients in, give it a shake, throw it in your fridge until you're ready to use it. So we're gonna start with our olive oil. I have a 1/2 cup extra virgin olive oil. Now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Again, we've got a lot of acid going on with this vinaigrette. The vinegar and the lemon juice, nice and bright. I have 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire, a little umami boost, 1 minced garlic clove, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. This is gonna help emulsify and again, add a little bit more umami to our vinaigrette. 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of table salt. Then easy peasy, just add your lid and take out any frustrations you might have with a shake. All right, our dressing is done, so I'm gonna set this aside. Now, if you did wanna make this ahead of time, just be sure to give it a good shake before you add it to your salad when you're ready to plate. In the meantime, you can see that my bacon is starting to render. It's starting to take on a little bit of color, which is great. So I'm just gonna keep stirring our bacon until it gets nice and crisp, and then we can move on. All right, our bacon is nice and crispy, as you can see. And I'm just gonna take a slotted spoon and transfer this to a paper towel lined plate. And as it sets, it's gonna continue to crisp up even more. We've talked a lot about the cooked ingredients in the Cobb salad, and now it's time to move on to the uncooked ingredients, starting with our grape tomatoes. Here I have 10 ounces of grape tomatoes. You could certainly use cherry tomatoes, but we like the pop of the grape tomatoes. They're a little bit more sturdy and substantial for the salad itself. So I'm just taking my knife and cutting it through the stem lengthwise, which makes that little bit of an opening in the tomato to help soak up some of that vinaigrette, which is great. And it also gives it a forkability effect when you're trying to eat your Cobb salad. Next up, we have our avocado. I have 2 ripe avocados here. Avocado is a classic ingredient in Cobb salad. It adds lovely creaminess, some richness. So let's talk about how to prep an avocado. So the first thing you wanna do is halve the avocado lengthwise. Now, some people like to do this directly in their hand, which isn't exactly the safest way, but if you choose to do so, make sure that you have a towel between your hand and the avocado to protect you. I, however, am going to rely on the support of my cutting board. I'm gonna run my knife lengthwise across the avocado, and I'm just sort of pressing the avocado against the cutting board as my support so it doesn't go flying anywhere. And then you can just give it a twist. We want to remove the core of the avocado, so I'm gonna again place it directly on the cutting board for support and focus on getting the heel of the knife right into that core. So just give it a little tap, twist. Now, rather than grab the pit right off the knife, to be more safe here, I'm just gonna take my index finger, press it on top of the spine of the knife, and press down with my other fingers, and we're good to go. All right, so now I'm gonna take a nice big spoon and scoop out the flesh, digging my spoon right around the edge where the flesh meets the skin, and we'll put it face down onto our cutting board. Same with the other side. And we want to cut our avocado into 1/2-inch pieces. These are nice bite-sized pieces so that everybody gets a little bit of everything when they're eating their salad. So I'm running my knife down the length of the avocado, then I'll spin the half and cut it into 1/2-inch cubes. We have 1 avocado down, and now I'm gonna prep the second avocado the exact same way. Time to move on to our hard-boiled eggs. So like the avocado, we also want to cut these into 1/2-inch pieces. So I'm just gonna take my knife, have the eggs perfectly hard-boiled, love that. Cut them into quarters, and then I will run my knife across the eggs. This is a very aesthetically pleasing salad, so having all of the ingredients cut uniform is just gonna make it look very nice. And it's also bite-sized, so it's easy to eat. So now I'm gonna transfer our eggs to another bowl. Our fully cooked chicken is now cool enough to handle, so I'll transfer it to our cutting board. And again, we wanna cut these into lovely 1/2-inch pieces. So I'm gonna go lengthwise first, straight across the chicken. Cut these pieces into strips. So you can absolutely cook your chicken breast a day ahead of time, but I would wait until you're ready to serve to cut your chicken into bite-sized pieces. Okay, so I'm gonna continue cutting the rest of my chicken breast, and then we can start to assemble our salad. Now, this is a Cobb salad after all, so now we're gonna talk about our salad greens. Here I have 8 cups of romaine lettuce that I have cleaned and torn into bite-sized pieces, as well as 4 cups of baby arugula. Now, watercress is traditional in a Cobb salad, but it can be kind of hard to find in your grocery store. So you can certainly use it if you can find it, but if not, you can substitute for baby arugula or chicory or curly endive or anything that has that bitter, peppery accent to the sweetness of the romaine. A Cobb salad is what's known as a composed salad. So we're not going to take all of these ingredients and toss them in a gigantic bowl all together. We're instead going to arrange them on a big platter. So you want to make sure that you have a nice big platter. And since we're not tossing all of our ingredients together, we want to make sure that each component is well seasoned. So we're going to dress them individually before we add them to our platter. Starting with our greens. You got a nice big platter, you're going to want a nice big bowl as well. We're going to combine our romaine and our arugula. Some of our vinaigrette recipes are fully emulsified. This is not one of those vinaigrettes. So you want to make sure that you give it a good shake to reincorporate all those ingredients. So I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of our vinaigrette right to our greens. And using my tongs here, give them a toss. We're using our tongs to both combine our arugula and our romaine and also to ensure that all of the greens are evenly coated in that dressing. And if you take a look at these greens, you can see that they are nice and shiny. They're very lightly coated. They're not overdressed, which is exactly what you want for this salad and really any salad that you're making at home. Okay, now to begin our platter work. We're going to make this the big bed of greens across the base of our platter. It's really nice to have 2 types of greens when you're making a salad. You can see the different shapes of the arugula sticking out of the romaine. Just adds another dimension to this salad. It's like a Tempur-Pedic mattress for all of our ingredients. Now, I don't want to get rid of this bowl that I tossed my greens in. There's a nice little coating of the dressing, and we're going to utilize that as we toss our other components, starting with our cubed chicken. So again, this is those 3 chicken breasts that we cut into 1/2-inch cubes. And now we're going to add 4 tablespoons of our vinaigrette. Now just give this a toss with a nice big spoon to ensure that all that chicken is evenly coated. We're going to add these in different rows across the top of our greens. So starting with our chicken, line our chicken up across the top. Next, we're going to season our grape tomatoes that we've halved. Back in the same bowl, it's going to add 1 tablespoon of our vinaigrette. Give these a toss as well. And we'll arrange the tomatoes on the opposite end from our chicken. Now we aren't going to toss our eggs and our avocado just because they are very soft. And if we were to stir in our vinaigrette with those ingredients, they would kind of start to muddy, get kind of mushy. We want to keep them bright, beautiful, especially because we put that work into cutting them into those 1/2-inch cubes. So instead, we're going to get rid of this bowl and align the eggs right next to the chicken. So much protein in this salad, which I love. And next we have our avocado, our nice creamy avocado that we've cubed. I mean, as the salad is coming together, you can just see that this is hearty enough for a main course. Now, we didn't toss our avocado and our egg, but we certainly do want to season it. So I have a little bit more of our vinaigrette that I'm going to drizzle right on top. Now, this is already stunning, but we do have a few more components to sprinkle on top, starting with our bacon. Remember, we have our crispy bacon, and this is going to add that nice crunch, that salty element. Now we have 2 more components, and this might feel like a lot of components, but one thing that I learned was that you can use the acronym EAT Cobb. You have your egg, your avocado, your tomato, your chicken, your onion. In this case, it's 3 tablespoons of minced chives, sprinkled right on top. Just adds a little pop of freshness. A slight mild onion flavor. It's really nice here. The first B is our bacon, and for the final B, some blue cheese. I have some crumbled blue cheese. Just to make crumbling your cheese that much easier, just pop it in the freezer for a few minutes before you do it. That added tang, that creaminess, just wakes everything up. Holy hearty salad. Talk about a salad showstopper. There may be a lot of components to this classic dinner-worthy salad, but now you've got the tools you need to manage them, and the results are so worth it. Creamy, crunchy, crispy, and fresh. The Cobb salad really has it all.
Now that you know how to assemble a composed salad, you're ready to take the next step. And with ATK classes, you'll get access to a wide variety of lessons filled with masterful techniques, helpful videos, and step-by-step photos. From knife skills and making hand-rolled pasta, to baking and frosting incredible cakes, and so much more. Download the America's Test Kitchen app and start learning with ATK classes today.